Because the new tax law will take effect from 1st of January 2026, a whole lot of information has been flying around social media and different digital space, even in the marketplaces, about what the tax law says and what it doesn't say. In fact, as of yesterday, I was going through the social media and I saw an advert, somebody who was trying to sell an ebook on the 2026 tax law, telling people that if you earn 1 million naira, 100,000 naira is your tax. If you earn 500,000, 50,000 naira is your tax. And I was like, wait, is it the same 2026 tax law we are talking about here? I mean, it's not straightforward. It's not easy to just say if you earn 1 million, this is your tax, because a lot of things goes into the computation and calculation of personal income tax. So there are a whole lot of misinformation there, which I'm going to tackle on a separate video. But in this video today, I want to show you how to calculate your personal income tax. I'll be walking you through a special template, Microsoft Excel template, which I have designed to help you calculate your personal income tax if you are a business owner, an employee, or even a freelancer or a content creator. So in this video, I'm going to show you what makes up your tax, the things that needs to be in place or to be considered before we can actually arrive at your tax. So that next time when you hear somebody saying if you make 1 million, you're going to pay 50,000 naira as your tax, then you will know that it is not as straightforward as that, because this person doesn't have full information about your earning, your reliefs, your deductibles, and a whole lot of other things that comes to play. So if you just came across this YouTube channel, my name is Ima Uchendo, and you can call me the bookkeeping expert. I am the founder of Touch Accounting Services, which is my bookkeeping business, and I also run this YouTube channel. So if you're new here, please kindly subscribe to this YouTube channel, like this video, and also share this video with your network. So quickly, without wasting much of your time, let's jump into our Excel template. Let me walk you through on how personal income tax is computed, and so that you can see other things that are considered before we can arrive at whatever tax you are supposed to pay on a yearly or monthly basis. Let's go. So let's go ahead and do practical computation of our tax using this template. So let's assume that your salary is 600,000 per month, and it will mean that your annual salary is going to be equals 600,000 multiplied by 12. So you can see the formula there, and it means that your salary here, your salary is going to be, your annual salary or your annual income is going to be 7.2 million. Okay, it's going to be 7.2 million. So now that we have the 7.2 million, let's assume too that your rent, your annual rent is 1 million. Okay, or let's say your annual rent is 2 million. Let's use 2 million in this instance. So we have gotten what you earn, we have gotten your salary, what you make, okay, monthly, and what you also make on the annual basis. And remember that this is at gross, okay, not net. Now we'll need to now start applying the deductible. So you will not pay tax on your 7.2 million. Okay, you will not pay tax on your 7.2 million. We now have to remove deductibles. That is the things you're supposed to remove before you pay tax. And number one of them is pension. Now, this pension, as I said, is 18%. The person who employed you pays 10%, and you, the employee rather, pays 8%. So, and this 8% is basic of what? Is 8% of basic housing and transport, but we are going to merge them together. So we are doing a consolidated structure. Okay, so because for some people they will say, yes, you did not do your computation, you did not break it down into basic, housing, and transport. We are doing a consolidated structure. So what we are going to do is to apply the percentage. Okay, is to apply the percentage. So we'll come here and we'll say equals, and equals what? 7.2 million multiply by 8. and you hit the enter button, and this will be your pension is going to be 576,000. Okay, I am running these formulas now so that you see how we arrive at it. Okay, but the template which I have added its link in the description for you to get, you may not need to run all these formulas because everything is already done there. You just put in your figure and have the template do most of the work. Now, the next one we are going to calculate is the national health insurance, which is what? 5%. And this is 5% of your gross salary. That is this 7.2. So here we'll come and we say equals 7.2 multiply by 5. And that will give us 360,000. And the next one is national health insurance. The national health fund rather is national health fund. Okay, so we are going to say equals 7.2 multiply by 2.5, and we have 180. Then our rent relief is going to be 20% of our rent. Now this 20% of rent is capped at 500,000. So we simply go ahead here and say equals 20 million. Is that 20 million? Okay, that is 2 million, not 20 million. 2 million multiply by 20 and equals to. So you see that what we have is less than 500,000. Assuming the amount we got here was above 500,000, we will use 500,000. So assuming this amount was 600,000 instead of 400,000, we got 600,000. Okay, we will not use that 600,000. We will use 500 out of that 600,000. Why? Because it says 20% of rent with cap at 500. So it means that you cannot take more than 500. Okay. That is just the layman explanation of this. You cannot take more than 500. So if you run the calculation and you get 700,000, you are going to use 500 out of that 700,000 and leave the rest. Okay. So having gotten this, it is now time for us to calculate our total deduction. So here we'll sum up. So we'll say equals sum. Okay. Open bracket. This, comma, this, comma, this, comma, and this, close bracket, enter button, and we will now have our what? Total deductibles. I am using this opportunity to even teach you Microsoft Excel basic formulas as we compute. So you see, you're getting a lot of value in this video. Okay, so we have our total deductible, and now when we now minus this 1.5 million from 7.2 million, we will now have this. It have already computed itself, but let's compute it again. So here we say equals 7.2 million minus 1.5 million. Okay, so you see we have 5,684,000 naira. Now this 5,684,000 naira is your taxable income, is the money which the government can now take tax on. So this also gets to show you that all those people on social media that are saying that the government will be taking money from every money that enters your account are not right. You know, this is tax period and a lot of people, both accountants, non-accountants, content creators, will just have opinion about tax. Yeah. It is the buzzing thing now. It is the thing in every person's mouth. So every person got an opinion. But you have to ensure that you're getting your opinion at least from the people that has to do with what relates to tax. Talk about accountants, talk about auditors, talk about those in finance and other economy related institution that are actually knowledgeable, because there are also people in these areas that are not really knowledgeable at this time, and it's understandable that everybody is learning. Okay, but there are other people who have gone ahead. So let's make progress. Now that we now know the exact amount that we are going to pay tax on, it is now time for us to apply it to the tax band. Okay, it is now time for us to apply it to the tax band. Let me correct this. This is supposed to be 2.2 million. Okay, so now let's apply it to the tax band. Now, for us to apply it to the tax band, let's start with the first 800. First 800. Now, what does it mean to be the first 800? Here, the tax band says that the first 800 is at 0%. Okay, so 0% of 800,000 is 0. And 0% of this our taxable income is 0. So this simply means that you are not going to pay tax on the first 800,000. So what do we do in this case? We come here and we say equals 5 million, okay, 5,680,000 minus 800,000. And this is what we have. So this simply means that we have taken away 800,000. Since 800,000, we don't need to pay tax on it. It is 0%. We have minus it from our taxable income, and this is what we now have left. Now, the next 2.2 million, that is what the tax band says. The next 2.2 million. Now, what does it mean? You will now have to compare this 4,884,000 and 2.2 million. Which one is bigger? Which one is bigger? 4.8 million is bigger. So you will do 15% of 2.2 million. If it was lesser, you will do 15% of whatever amount that is here. Are you getting it? So, but because it is bigger, we will do 15%. So we'll come here, we'll do equals to 15% of 2.2 million. And this is what it will give us. So it means that on the next 2.2 million, the person is paying 330,000 naira as tax. So we'll now minus 2.2 million from this 4.2. So we'll come here and we'll now say equals 4.8 million minus 2.2. Okay, so let me clean this. The formulas are still there. That's why it's calculating that end on its own. Okay, so now we have minus our 2.2 million because we have gotten the tax we are supposed to pay on the next 2.2 million. So we have minus our 2.2 million from 4.8 million, and this is the balance we have. All right, so after we applied the next 2.2 million at 15% and we deducted our 2.2 million from here, we deducted 2.2 million from 4.8 million to get this 2.6 million. Now, you also assess if your remaining balance, which is 2.6 million, is bigger than 9 million or lesser. Assuming it is bigger than 9 million, you will apply 18% on 9 million. That would have been your calculation. But now, 2.6 million is lesser than 9 million, which means it did not really go into what? The 9 million bracket. So what you're going to do is to apply 18 million on 2.6. So we'll do that by coming here and say equals 2.6 million times 18%. And that will give us 483,000. Okay, 483,000. And that is the end of, that is the extent to which our taxable income can go. Okay, so here will become dash because there is no other thing to minus. Okay, and this is now the first 800 is also dash because that is what? It's also dash because it's at 0%. So this is the tax, okay, that you are going to pay. So let's calculate our yearly tax payable. So what will come here, we'll come down here and say equals sum, okay, because we want to multiply
all the tax equals sum 330,000 plus 400 plus 483,120. Then we'll do what? We'll close bracket. And then we have 813,120. Now, this is the yearly tax that you are going to pay if you earn 7.2 million. This is the yearly tax you're going to pay. So we want to break it down into monthly tax. How much are you going to pay per month? Since you're paying 813,120 in a year, how much is it going to really be in a month? So we'll come here and say equals 813,000 divided by 12. And that will give us 67,760 naira. So this is what you're supposed to pay on a yearly basis, and this is what you're expected to pay on a monthly basis. Okay, so this is your monthly tax payable and your yearly tax payable. So do you think that for somebody who earns 7.2 million a year, paying 813,120 in a year as tax, do you think it is too much? Do you think the tax is high, or do you think it's low, or do you think is really justifiable based on how much the person earn on a yearly basis? And also, do you think if the person was earning lesser than 7 million, do you think that person would have paid more tax or less tax? This is the conversation I want us to have in the comment section. So let me know your opinion in the comment section based on this new tax law. You know, a lot of people have been saying it's going to make us pay more tax, but the government have been saying it's going to make you pay less tax. So with this practical computation now, do you think is really making us pay less tax or high tax? So let's have that debate in the comment section.